Thank you so much. The hunt for a serial killer on Long Island is heating up. Police are expanding their search after 4 bodies were found just yards from one another on Gilgo Beach. Our next guest, Vernon J. Geberth, is a retired lieutenant commander of the New York City Police Department with over 40 years of law enforcement experience. Mr. Geberth is often called the godfather of homicide investigations. He's also the author of the book Sex-Related Homicide and Death Investigations. Thank you so much for being here. The last time you and I sat down on a couch and talked about stuff was O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
However, you go all over the country, right? Investigators ask you to come and help them all over the country with their work?
I'm invited into cases by officers who have been to my program throughout the United States, and I come in and offer my services for non-attribution, for experience, and we've been very successful.
All right, let's talk about what's happening here on Long Island.
Okay.
They're not saying it's a serial killer. When is a serial killer a serial killer?
All right, well, that's an interesting question, because a serial killer is 2. For years, the FBI said 3. I said, no, in our world, in the world of murder cops, if we have 2, we have a series. If I have 4 bodies dumped at one specific location, and they're all females, I'm looking at a serial killer. Statistically speaking, most victims of serial killers are females. What is different about this case is that not many serial killers, and I've studied over 300 serial killers, not many serial killers use a disposal site. They usually spread the bodies around.
They do?
They do.
Why is that? Because they don't want to get caught?
Well, they don't want to get caught.
Do you think this guy wants to get caught?
No. There's a lot of psychology involved in this. That disposal site is a totem place for him. He could go back there and relive those events and experience what he did. And
is it a high for him, or does it get him worried?
It's a sexual high. These people are fantasy-driven. It's fantasy-driven behavior. Most of them have extensive pornography collections and backgrounds. The fact that those 4 bodies are found in one area speaks very highly to the fact that you're dealing with a serial killer. If nobody wants to call him a serial killer, I'll call him a serial killer, okay, for the record. I can only think of 2 or 3, well, 4 other people that have done that. The Green River killer out in Washington State, Gary Ridgway, he had disposal sites. Dayton Leroy Rogers out of Oregon, similar, 1 body was found, just like in Long Island.
Right.
And as they expanded the crime scene area, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 8 bodies.
That's right, they're expanding the crime scene on Long Island today as well.
I'm very happy to hear that, because that's what happened in the Oregon case. They had 1 body and they were concentrating, and as they expanded the crime scene, they ended up with 8.
So right now, they don't have anybody in custody, but they did talk to this one man. His name is Joseph Brewer. Supposedly, a known prostitute had visited him and had gone missing. Her body is not among the 4 that they found. They just said that.
Okay.
If you were working on this case, what would you look at right now?
Right now, I'll be waiting for the results of the identification of the remains.
Meanwhile, these remains are really bad. I mean, they said, you know.
Well, in this day and age, they can get DNA from those remains, and they have a national CODIS base of missing persons. And if we can identify those bodies, then we have a base to start the investigation. This investigation stalled until they can identify the bodies. The victimology is going to be paramount to the identification of the killer.
You talked about this guy coming back to the scene. Why you think it's just to relive it, or why do they come back to the scene? What do you talk about in your book here?
Well, I talk about the pattern of behavior and thinking of these folks. These folks are fantasy-driven, and having a place where you have bodies that you've had sex with and you killed, and to be able to go back to that same location and vicariously feel and relive the event is a very important thing to them. It's something called an engram in psychology. It's a mind picture conjured up in the imagination or based upon an actual event. The actual event is the murder, the sexual murder. And now, being able to go back to that place, he can re-experience it. I'll tell you right now, if the serial killer that is unknown at this time, he is highly stressed at this point, because that was a very private and very special place to him. And now the bodies have been discovered. He is in a panic state right now.
Do you think that he'll kill again?
Well, all these people will kill again. Right now, he's laying low and hoping they don't find any evidence. I think that as they go through this area, there's a good possibility that he may have dropped something or left something behind that will be eventually linked to him.
Do you think he lives on Long Island? Do you think he lives in that area?
Definitely a local. I would take it to the bank. He's a local serial killer.
What else would you look at this point?
Well, I can't look at victimology because we don't know who they are. I would be looking at anything that they find in that disposal site that has possible evidentiary value. And, of course, the autopsy protocols.
Right. Well, Vernon J. Geber. I keep messing up your name.
It's Geber.
Okay.
I should have kept my mother's maiden name, Cardillo. I would have been better off.
Yeah, why didn't you do that? What was wrong with you? Okay.
Right.
So nice to have you back here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great to see you again.
Thank you for getting us up to speed on this.
Okay.
Dick, over to you.
All right. Fascinating information, Rosana and Mr. Geber. Thank you very much.